YouTube? Devin here again. Sorry for my crappy getup. Had most of my clothes stolen, as a lot of you know. This video, if you can't tell from the title, is going to be on the first ever handgun I have purchased. I got it for a very, very good deal because it needed a lot of work. Turns out it wasn't really all that much work, but you really had to know, you have to know quite a lot about guns to be able to tell what was wrong with it, and have the confidence enough to fix it. So my very first gun, handgun, would be this right here, which is a French MLE 1915 Ruby. Now this is a fantastic handgun. I love how dense and heavy it is, how simple it is to work. The only thing holding this gun together when it goes off, of course, because it is simple blowback, is the fact that this is a very heavy handgun, has an incredibly heavy slide, and a spring. A very strong spring. That's it. There's no locking force in this handgun or anything, and it's a very simple gun. It has like 5 parts in it. There's nothing to go wrong in the semi-automatic handgun, other than, as I will show you later. It did need just a little bit of work when I got it. It said it needed major work when I bought it. I bought it for $75 US, because it was having some issues, and because somebody replaced the grips. These are the non-original grips, but this one is actually a really desirable manufacturer as far as a Ruby goes. This is one of the smaller manufacturers. It is in, if you can't see it right there, it is in Azara Ruby. They made one of the nicer Rubies, as you could tell. This is not the original finish on it either. This is one of the ones that was retained by the French after World War I. It went through their re-arsenaling process, and that's why it has this immaculate blue. The grips are non-original. It is still all numbers matching. The magazine is the original magazine to the gun. It holds 9 rounds of 32 ACP. It is based off the Colt 1903. Very simplified and handmade. So this, the thing about the Ruby is there's non-interchangeable parts. This one will not take a lot of parts unless by happen chance. From any other Ruby, even made by the same manufacturer. There could be differences in tolerances, and so you really can't exchange parts with these. They're all basically hand fit. But out of emergency, due to the attrition of World War I, one of the things that the French didn't think they were going to need a ton of, that it turns out they did need a ton of, were handguns. They went into World War I using the MLE 1892 revolver in 8mm French long. So it was a pretty good handgun. It's kind of weird in the fact that it has a like right side swing out cylinder, and it's a 6-shot basically revolver. So 1915 they went to Spain, the Ibar region of Spain, which is in the northern part of Spain, basically borders France almost, and it is a well-known region for gun manufacturing. They have a very hard time maintaining patents and stuff in Spain. A lot of other countries do, so that allowed the Ibar region to basically copy other people's guns and make them, albeit kind of cheaply there. The Ibar region guns do not have the highest quality of standards. They tend to have a lot of problems. They are mostly hand fit. It's kind of a hit or miss region as far as guns go, but you can get some diamonds in the rough out there. So this is a pretty cool handgun. I'm super glad to have it. Haven't got to shoot it yet. I've been kind of working out the kinks and fixing some problems on it. Still got one little thing left that I'll eventually get to, and I'll show you that here in the video. I just got to take the time to do it. So but it's a neat little gun. It's very tiny and compact, as you can see, and so the things that were wrong with it when I bought this handgun, the firing pin tended to jam forward. Which is a problem for a simple blowback gun. It essentially made this thing automatic. If you have a ammo manufacturer known for having specifically kind of soft primers, the fact that the firing pin gets stuck forward, and this is a simple blowback, which means, you know, you can just pull the trigger, all right, slide comes back, goes forward, since the firing pin is stuck forward, it will automatically shoot the next round. Essentially turning this into a 9-shot automatic handgun. So that's a problem. I need to get the firing pin unbent and straightened, which shouldn't be too hard to do, and it should worked just totally fine after that. And the other problem was it was having a lot of failures to eject. So the ejector on this gun is right here, and it is held in place by a little pin right there. This pin, basically you disassemble the gun and you drift that pin out from the inside, which is not hard to do, and then you can take this little extractor out right here. Just slides right out of the gun. This extractor also has a big bump on the back of it that is held in place by that pin that keeps the firing pin in place. So it keeps it from traveling too far inside the bolt, which is actually part of the slide. The bolt is not a separate piece. But there's a little coil spring right here behind this side that was just bent over, really old kind of menu. So I got another tiny little coil spring, cut it to length, and kind of flattened it out a little bit. Stuck it in there, and I didn't have any ejection problems after that. It worked out quite fantastically, and I'm super happy with how it performs now, other than I just need to get that firing pin fixed. The cool markings on it here, as you can see, it is all numbers matching. If you can't read the markings there, the rebluing process kind of affected it, but I'll pause it here so you could pause it here, try to read it if you would like. But it just says Magnifico Encheveria España Ibar Pistola Automática, and then it has Izara in quotes, and then it says caliber 7.65 on the side of it. Sights on it, if you can't tell, are quite easy to acquire and use. They're very low profile, this gun is. The mag release is a heel type, which I actually really like, and I like for good reason. The push button type magazines that you find on a lot of American handguns right here, I don't like, because if you tap them, your magazine just falls out of the gun. Now, even fully loaded, this magazine can't really fall out of the gun, and it's very simple because of that. For one, this is a pretty hard thing to just have to travel enough. It's a pretty hard spring to have to accidentally pull that far and then grab this toe of the magazine and pull it out, because it doesn't just fall out. It's in there pretty not tight, but like tension kind of snug fit, so it won't just fall out of the gun. So you need to simultaneously, by accident, pull this back far enough and pull on this tab, the toe of the magazine, in order to remove it. Whereas the Americans, with their push button, it just kind of falls out of the gun pretty easily if you bump that button. But even with a full magazine, as I will show you, this is an empty magazine. This is not a magazine that is easily removed. So as you can see, shake the gun. It'll do this with a full magazine too. I've tested it. Shake the gun, see the magazine doesn't come out, even though it's not held in place anymore. Let's move it to halfway out. Doesn't fall out of the gun. Now let's move it to 90% of the way out. It won't fall out of the gun. It does if you shake it very hard at a full magazine. It will fall out when it's 90% of the way out of the gun. But it's because the dual purpose of this little heel catch right here, because there's spring pressure pushing on it, it rubs on the back of the magazine and kind of pinches it, holds it in place, so it won't fall out of the gun. Which is a pretty nice thing. It's a pretty secure fit, and after you get really fast at it, you can do changes quite quickly with the heel release. It's just something that a lot of Americans aren't used to. It just takes a little practice. On the other side, it does have a manual safety, but according to French doctrine, which was the only military to ever really adopt this pistol in super large numbers and use them in combat, this is the safety right here. You can find yours without an upgrade. There was a problem the French had with the safety. When pulling it out of a holster, a leather holster that was kind of new and tight fitting, this would tend to drag on the holster, and that would be safe. So this is the fire position, down would be the fire position, up would be safe. So it would drag on the leather and be switched up to the fire position, the safe position like this, and then when you would go to shoot, you can't pull the trigger and your gun's unsafe, and that sucks. So they would fix a rivet into the slide, just a big rivet that would make it so the leather was, it would push the leather far enough away from the gun to where it wouldn't catch on the safety. You can find them both ways. This one happens to be missing it, but you can find them with the rivet. This one is all numbers matching. It is serial number 5631. Now we're going to flip the camera around. I'm going to hopefully get a couple closer views of the markings, show you what a round looks like and everything like that, and then we'll disassemble it really quick for you and reassemble it really quick for you, just to show you how easy it is to take one of these apart. So stay tuned for that. Alrighty, so here we go. You can see the Ruby in place. This is one of the rounds for the Ruby. It is a 32 ACP. The camera would ever focus. I get a little closer. There we go. I get a big enough surface area. It helps. So that's a little tiny 32 ACP. It's a 7.65 by 17 millimeter for all you metric people. This happens to be a hyper expansion hollow point defense round made by Federal. So here's the gun. So now to show you how to get a little bit closer look at the markings there. There you go. You can see the markings a lot better from this angle. You can see it's a really shiny, great gun. You can tell it's French proofed because it has the I mark, meaning that's the manufacturer. Izara is its abbreviation. It has the lanyard. You can see the beautiful grips here. These are non-original grips though, but they are lacquered and actually quite nice. Despite being smooth, you get a really good grip on this gun. This gun, by the way, easy to work. I have tiny hands, by the way. This is a gun you could work the safety very easy with both hands. As you can see, I'm working it with my right hand there. And if I flip it over into my left hand, you could do it very easy. As you can see, so it's actually pretty ambidextrously friendly. Obviously, to rack it, it's pretty simple. It does not have a hold open on the last magazine. As you can see, the magazine is empty. It will not hold open, so you have to get used to that. This is, I'll show you when we take it apart, an internal hammer-fired gun. So it's not striker-fired or anything like that. And so to disassemble it, first thing we're going to do is flip the safety on. All right, remove the magazine. You don't actually need to remove the magazine with this, though. But we're just going to do that to let you know that it is indeed clear. So then when we pull it back, as you can see, we can check that it is clear. They're all clear. I check them before we do the video. But that will lock the magazine back. And so just like the Browning 1903 and the Colt 1903, what you do is you now, people think these are like fluted barrels for like lightning and stuff like that. No, that's actually so you could get a grip for disassembly. You grab the barrel and you rotate it, basically clockwise, and some of them are counterclockwise, but this one you rotate it clockwise. And then you release the safety, and sometimes it gets a little caught, but you just pull it off, and there you go. You field strip the whole gun. The spring here is captive on the guide rod, and the barrel, now, you just rotate back so the lugs are facing down. There you go. There's your thing that holds your barrel in place. These are not locks that lock the barrel in place. They just hold the barrel in place. This is not a locking surface. But that's how you would field strip the gun. Not anything super fantastic at all. As you can see there, my firing pin, come on now, focus. As you can see, the firing pin is stuck out right now. It's not supposed to be like that. That is, while I was fixing the spring on the extractor here, I noticed that the firing pin, the tip of it, is bent ever so slightly, and that's why it's kind of wedged in place like that. So I need to go get that taken care of, obviously, and I'd rather have a professional do that. So just to make sure that it's not gonna, I don't have to sit there with pliers and keep taking this apart and bending it and checking it over and over and over again. It's just gonna be easier to pay them $20 to do it. So now we're gonna go through the whole way of reassembling this pistol. You're going to take the flat part of the recoil spring and guide rod, drop that into this, you can see that little hole channel down there. Put it in there. All right, make sure your barrel is in. Rotate it into the correct position. And you're just going to put your slide on, make sure your guide rod lines up. Okay. Put your barrel in, slide it in as far as you can. Retract the pistol, throw the safety on, and the barrel should be perfectly lined up, basically almost to rotate right back into position. And you can release the safety, let your hammer go, and there you go. You have one fully disassembled and reassembled field stripped Ruby right there. So hopefully I'll bring this to some shooting videos for you guys here, hopefully soon, so maybe sometime this winter. Shouldn't take me too long to get this thing fixed, so we'll go flip the camera angle back around and wrap up the video. So, as you guys know, and you've been a part of the channel for a while, I really like 32 ACP. I like all of my rounds kind of around 30 caliber. And this is a fantastic gun. It's heavy, it's well balanced. From both angles, it works quite well. You can twirl it if you want. It works pretty fantastic for all that cool stuff. It's a neat little gun to handle around, but it's weighty, it's dense, and it's heavy because it's simple blowback, because 32 ACP is such an anemic cartridge that it doesn't really need a locking force. And but getting shot's getting shot. Now, people are always concerned about stopping power and everything like that. That really has little effect. Pretty much once anyone gets shot, they really don't want to fight anymore. So this will get the job done just as accurately as possible. And fun fact about the 32 ACP, 32 ACP was the round that killed Hitler. It was the round that killed a lot of dictators, and it's actually was the most popular self-defense cartridge from about 1900 until 1970 across the globe. It's still very popular in Europe. It's making a comeback actually in Europe, but it was widely replaced as a concealed carry round here in North America by the 380 ACP, which is essentially this same round but just blown up to 9mm. It is basically a 9 by 17 millimeter, whereas this is a 7.65 by 17 millimeter, or for those of you who don't know, in caliber terms, this would be a 32 caliber. It's actually closer to 30, but it's called 32 caliber, and 9mm would be 38 caliber for my Americans. So hopefully you guys like this video. Subscribe if you like this sort of thing. This is basically all purchased with your guys' funds. It's a little bit of a project gun and everything like that, and I look forward to being able to shoot it for you guys, because after all, it was a gift that you guys did indeed pay for. You did basically buy my first handgun. This thing is 105 years old now, so it's a pretty neat antique, not quite antique, but pretty cool gun to have, and I absolutely love it, and it's gorgeous. So thank you so much for that, you guys. And if you do want to become a supporter of the channel and get access to the wonderful super fans here in the Discord, which is basically a cult that I run now, if you're interested in that, it's a pretty cool place to show me everything you have and chat with other cool people about everything under the sun and being an old man and all that other good stuff. And it all goes a long way to support the channel. For as little as $1 a month on Patreon, I'll send you a link to the Discord where you can hang out with all the other cult members. They're not really a cult, but hang out with all the other cool cats that decided to support the channel for life, which is super great considering YouTube's ad revenue and fluctuations are so difficult and weird things like that. If you consider a one-time donation, there's a link to the PayPal in the About tab of my channel. The link to Patreon is there as well. I will put the link to the Patreon into the description as well if you feel like a contribution is something you would like to do. Members of the Discord get first access to stuff that I plan on selling. If anyone's interested in buying anything, they get first access because they do indeed pay me. So it goes a long way to help me support the channel, find time to do this, take time out of my day and everything like that, which means the absolute world to me. I appreciate all of my Patreon supporters, and I talk to all of them on a daily basis in the Discord. So it's also, if you participate in the Discord long enough, I'll ask you to be on a live stream if that's something that interests you. So as long as you could adhere to YouTube policy on that. Thank you so much for stopping by, you guys. It means the world to me. Of course, if you can't support the channel, just like, subscribe, comment on the video, share it, all that other good stuff. It helps me in the algorithms if you can't indeed support via PayPal or Patreon. Means the world to me. I'd love to eventually not replace, have this as a job, but have it as basically more than a hobby, something that'll hopefully pay one bill, or at least help fund the channel quite a lot. So thank you all for stopping by. Thank you all for your support, and hopefully I will see all of you all in the next video. Bye-bye now.